Hey, good morning, everybody. Morning, David. Morning, Everett, Alan, Arturo, John, Philip, Kevin, Francois, Lucero. I think I said that right. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Wow, what a time, right? Um, if you want to chat with me, all you gotta do is be a subscriber. Morning, Dave, Valerie, and I mean, check it out. Mainstream media is getting wise to this not a recession thing, I think. I mean, consider this. If you see the sky's blue, right? You know it's blue. I know it's blue. We all know it's blue. Say the Fed comes out and says, no, no, no. We redefine what blue is. That's red. You don't understand. Like, the sky is red. And everything else is that you knew is blue is still blue. But that sky, we redefine what the sky colors are. That's red. Do we all just go along? I mean, that looks blue to me. Does it look blue to you? Let's use our brains here. I think the economy went through a crunch, and now we're potentially coming out of the bottom of it. Now, the stock market does tend to come out of its bottom before companies report their worst earnings and their worst, the worst economic news hits the market. So you have to remember all the numbers are lagging. They're not an indication of real time, despite what everybody wants to say, that we have the ability to read things real time. This thing is so big, our economy, the U.S. economy, the worldwide economy, like, we don't get those numbers for months. The real effects trickle down over, a couple of weeks ago, I showed the chart how the interest rates don't actually trickle down for almost 2 years, 24 months. They don't actually trickle all the way into everything for 24 months. So they're sitting there making month-to-month decisions on rate raises and stuff like that. In fact, we got the FOMC coming up in 2 weeks. Not this week, but next week. Are they going to... And everybody thinks they're going to raise rates again. Well, the real effects of the first rate raise they did last year probably hasn't even fully trickled through the economy yet. So it's all, like, ridiculous. Morning, everybody. Morning, Craig. Maurizio, glad to have everybody. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Maybe share it with a friend that could use some financial help if you know any traders. I probably don't do well for the newbie, but glad to have everybody regardless. Morning, Dan, Harry, Glenn. Glad to have everybody. All right, so kicking it off, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. I may be full of crap. I may never get anything right again. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, not a recommendation to buy or sell anything, financial instrument or otherwise. If you desire personal financial advice, you need to consult a financial advisor, which is not me. And lately, you probably get a robo-advisor. Morning, George. So, looking at that financial calendar, and I bet I got to refresh it. Yep, refresh it and try to get the right one. Here we go. So, this week, today, not a lot happening. We had the Empire State Manufacturing Index coming in a little positive. Manufacturing ticking up just a little bit. We were expecting a negative 3.5, got a 1.1. I mean, that still looks like a downtrend and looks pretty bad to me. Maybe we round at the bottom. Maybe we get a little, maybe it does the curve back to the upside. I don't know. Tomorrow, we've got core retail sales coming out before the market hits. And that's kind of it. I mean, we've got some Fed members speaking and whatever, but they may or may not move the market. The real mover, retail sales. Then on Wednesday, not a whole lot. We got building permits and housing starts. Then Thursday, we got the jobs, unemployment claims, and Philly Fed manufacturing index. Then Friday, benign again. But what we do have is earnings ramping up, and they're kind of ramping up pretty big starting this week. So let me pop over here. I did not grab this ahead of time. Let me grab this really quickly. pull this out and pull it over. So what we have, two of the biggest names out there, Tesla and Netflix, reporting earnings this week on Wednesday after the close. We'll talk more about that on Tuesday and then on Thursday morning. We had some financials hitting on Friday. We got more coming up this week. Bank of America, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, Lockheed Martin sneaking in there, LMT. We got Pinnacle Bank. We've got Regions over here, American Express, Discover Card down here. And we're just going to ramp up. Like, we're going to have a whole lot of earnings for the next couple of weeks. And the smart CEOs sandbagged. Like, they, got their company to say, hey, we expect poor performance. We expect poor sales. We expect poor numbers. And, they sandbagged it. They made their estimates low. So they come in and lob one over the fence and crush it this quarter on the earnings, and then managing the stock price, right? And so the smart CEOs did that. The ones that are honest, which there's plenty of them out there that are honest and try to be honest, they're probably going to get punished. So just keep it in mind. The ones that don't get sucked into the hype and excitement, although we can make money on that, there may be some crazy surprises to the upside. The stock may or may not react as we would expect it to, but the smart CEOs know how to manage a stock price. Arguably, Elon Musk is good at this. So we'll see what comes up. All right. We'll see. Moving over to the actual stocks here. Why does it disconnect me all the time? So weird. Anyway. Reconnect. So ES looks like kind of flat overnight. Not really doing a whole lot. We had a nice spike Friday and then a plummet into the close. Sunday open up and we've just kind of been flat. That's not really showing me much, and we probably have lower to go. If this is just a little minor retrace, we got lower to go, and if this is the bigger correction, we've got lower to go. So slight downward bias today so far. This thing came up and hit that extension at 45.50 that I was talking about on Friday. I can't even get it to the right. There we go. 45.50. We came up, found resistance, and we hit it twice and pull back. It's highly likely. 1618 is hard to push through on any move for anything. Some stuff can do it. Some stuff gets the hype and excitement, but ES probably going to pull back a little bit. Now, you might be saying, ES, what the fudge is ES? I've never heard of ES. That's S&P 500 futures. When the mainstream media is like telling you, oh, the market's going to open lower today. And you're like, how do they even know? They're looking at the futures here. And I keep an eye on the futures because it gives me overnight data. They opened at 6 p.m. yesterday, Eastern time, and trade all night. And we do that until 5 p.m. on Friday, and then we close for the weekend. And we're closed Friday and Saturday, and then we reopen on Sunday again. And this is the weekly cycle. This is usually even moving when we have holidays in the market. So NQ, big tech, this is looking fully cooked, and we may see a bigger outsize move down. We came up just a little shy of that 1618. Came up just a little shy, but I'm not necessarily feeling that we're going to pop up there and get it. We may have just come up a little shy. So, but ES and NQ both making highs, while Russell is lagging. Severely lagging. We're lagging way behind when we pop back up to the daily. Both NASDAQ and S&P 500 have cleared their August highs from last year. So we're making 52-week highs on those, whereas Russell has a series of lower highs going right now. This is kind of bearish so far until we can break out above 2,000. And really, it needs to be above about 21 or 2020-ish to really get above this high back here from August 2030 and start tilting the scales to going up. Otherwise, this one can go down in a blaze of glory. All right, the banking situation not necessarily cleared up. Morning, Kimberly. My lovely wife is here to grace us with her presence. All right. Request show is tomorrow at 5 p.m. So I do 30 minutes of awesome requests, and it's at least 30 minutes. Usually, lately, it's been going over an hour. So today, we're looking for morning movers, stuff moving, oil rejecting the roadmap line on the daily chart. May get a retest back to this consolidation. We may come back and retest before we can try again. Typical, that's actually a bearish hold right there. So far, we've got to see what happens. This can easily lead to a lower low than we saw back here in May on oil. So not bullish yet. All right, we don't have the breakout. Even though we broke out of this consolidation, it might be a giant fake out. Be careful. All right. Longer term, I'm bullish on oil. Longer term, I'm bullish on gold, but this is not looking that slowdown right there. The two dojis, the green one and the red one, and now red today. I was kind of like I was looking for that move up through 1950 to go long, but then something told me that we may see a retrace again. I just wasn't feeling it. Like we weren't getting the continuation. We weren't getting up through that resistance right there in a positive, meaningful way. And like I said, the initial thing I was looking for was a move up through 1950, and it didn't give me the warm fuzzy that we were going to get the continuation yet. So we may need a little. If we hold right here, we make a higher high, and then we retrace again. That may be what I'm looking for. And you can say that the patterns don't matter. Like I'm full of crap, but I tend to get this stuff right. So we may see this hold in here. If we break down below about 1940, it's probably going down. But if we find support right in this area, right in here, and bounce, and then get a retrace, something like this, back down here again, that's going to be like this super bullish, yeah, it's going to be like this super bullish pattern right there, right in that zone, and then launch off. It's on like Donkey Kong for gold. But right now we may churn a little bit before we do that. So be careful chasing gold so far. Now silver is a little different situation. Let's just pull up this chart. Look at that. That's rocking. All right. That's what I wanted to see on gold. That's not what's happening on gold. And a little bit cautious. Now, over the weekend, I was checking out some other metals. Put them on this list. Got palladium. Look at this. Palladium. I don't know how you say it. Palladium. I probably say it completely wrong. Look at that. That is a very bearish chart. When people talk about precious metals, and that looks pretty horrible. But we were overcooked probably on the upside. And platinum, I mean, not looking like an overly bullish chart there either. All right. So I'm not sure that, and then that's a bearish chart. Really bearish chart. Could go way lower on copper. So I'm not sure we're totally out of the woods on all this stuff yet. Just be careful. And Bitcoin, the digital gold, is still correcting and not being awesome yet. Tried its darndest to break out and got rejected right back to the bottom of the range. That orange box, funny enough, comes from this consolidation right back over here and this high right here. Just churning, like trying to build up the energy to get out of this little constellation. It's like couldn't do it. Tried and failed. So highly cautious on that one until we actually get some upward go. We could easily retrace right back to the roadmap line one more time. Ethereum also trying to break out and getting slammed right back down to the consolidation that it's been in for months now. And this is actually a bearish pattern so far with the lower high, and kind of expect lower on Ethereum. Bitcoin, I don't really have a bias yet. We're just stuck in the consolidation. So be careful there. Dollar, yeah, right out to the target. Bounce was the prediction I kind of made on Friday, and that may be what we do. We may come right back up here to about 185-ish and then roll over again. That'll be the test. Can we hold that prior low and go lower? 98 would be the next downside. Short term, expect to move back up into the 100 area before we roll on down. All right, stuff moving today. Stuff moving today. Let's look at the list. Pow, the market just opened. That is a pharmaceutical. They announce stuff and get crazy moves, and that popped up right to the prior highs. And I would be super careful trying to chase this stuff because my patterns don't really work on pharmaceuticals. Ford getting talked about and slam back down. That's working on a potential breakout there. It does have the wedge pattern. It did this watermelon seed squeeze deal. Usually we see a move the size of the beginning of the wedge when we pop out of the wedge. So I'm watching for this continuation, potentially up into this $18, $19 area. That would kind of complete that pattern. And then we'll see where we go. I do kind of expect it to go up there and then retrace back to this breakout point and then go. I do have a longer term, 3 to 5 year, very bullish expectation on Ford. Move it up into the high 60s, maybe 70, 80, maybe even 100. That'd be super awesome. But it's got some stuff to work through. I mean, this is a big company, and you may be like, JT, it can't move like you're talking about. Look at this. Like, it went on a tear and then it had to rest. So now, working on getting the tear going again. It's working on it. Not yet. Not yet for me. BBIO, another pharma. This stuff, look at that crazy move. Doesn't follow the patterns, but that was breakout. And let's see, let's measure it. Right up to extension. I would not expect a huge amount more. Maybe up to 30.82. Possibly 33, but it has this giant gap in here to deal with right here, and that's going to be resistance. If it gets up to 40, I would expect it to retrace. AT&T continues to head toward 0. Golly, what a horrible chart. It's a dumpster fire of a chart if I've ever seen one. Please be careful. I wouldn't put your money on this. I mean, be careful on that. That's freaking dangerous. That's unless you're trading to the bottom, and $14 is not a long way to trade down. Be careful. Luckin Coffee, this thing, I got stuck in this for a long time when they got delisted and relisted, and China garbage. That's I wouldn't touch it with your money. I keep getting reminded every time I get into something in China. I get reminded why I should not trade China. Some people can do it, and that's not for me. All right, this one did a reverse split, and that is bearish, and I expect this to go down. Biotech, be careful. All right, APLS, another pharmaceutical, giant gap down, be careful. Luna, this is Luna Classic. This is the one that supposedly was a scam last July, lost most of its value. Look at that, went from $90 down to like 90 10,000ths of a cent. It's got to go up like 1,000,000% to get back up there. And despite it being on the stock twits Hypium train, that looks ultimately very bearish and probably going down to zero. Rivian, beautiful pop right up to that resistance and turn down, probably going to come back to test this orange confluence here, either the prior highs or the roadmap line, one or the other. It's just highly likely to do it. We could charge up some energy here and pop, but I give higher probability to coming back down to retest the support from where we broke out from. OPRA probably coming back to there. This is the Opera web browser, I think. I don't know what else they do. It's probably... Anybody here remember or use Opera web browser? I think it might be a mobile web browser now. But not really much pullbacks in there, and probably going to come back to the roadmap line would be my guess. ARGX, that's a crazy pop right up to extensions. I would not expect it to go much higher than here without getting a significant retrace, at least back to retest the breakout price here. And we can run this over here and double check. Yeah, 272. I kind of expect that to retrace a bit. That was just a crazy pop too. It's one of those you'd wait for the move up on my classic roadmap pattern, and that one just went ripping right out to targets, extreme targets. No chance to get in. Would have had to jump it, which is dangerous and risky. That's a crazy move. Pharmaceutical, go figure. They don't always follow my patterns. Although that kind of did. It just didn't give you any opportunity to actually get into it. So POSCO, PKX, this is steel, making a crazy move for steel. 1618. That'd be all I expect, and probably a retrace back down. BKI, another crazy move. Package software, no idea what Black Knight does, never even heard of them. Looks like they have significant resistance right there. Potentially right here where these double hot top was. Probably needs a retrace like that. That came off of almost the lows. It's like a double bottom pop, but it left a giant gap. We may go retrace. Not expecting great continuation there. Tesla making the list and continues to churn right up into 300. We may be on a path to go retest this high right here. I thought we would get a retrace before we did that, but it seems that people are getting a little crazy right now. We see this on NVIDIA, we see this on Tesla, people just being a little crazy, and these things are likely to get outsized pullbacks, so be careful. This hit my ultimate target. I expected a retrace before we did that, but hey, people can be irrational. This is going to come back to earth at some point, and don't let, unless you can ride a 33% pullback and be fine, no problems, I would be highly cautious throwing your money in this right now. This thing is fully cooked in my books. Everything I watch. So ATVI coming right up. 95 is the buyout price, and we're easing our way right up into it. It's not likely to exceed the buyout price. Basically, all the regulatory hurdles were cleared. FTC's appeal got rejected, so probably going to get bought out by Microsoft for 95 bucks. You can make, you buy it now, you make $2. I mean, it's almost guaranteed money. SMCI continues to be ridiculous, and that one's also probably going to get an outsized retrace at some point. Now, their price to sales is not too crazy. They can support higher prices with their price to sales. I'm not even talking about earnings, just price to sales. But at some point, the AI hype train is going to be over. These guys sell computers that are set up for AI. They sell computers that hold like 10 of the $20,000 NVIDIA GPUs for doing AI research, if you're unfamiliar. So they are on the AI hype train. Z-Lab looks like a little pop, but that's still bearish, and a biotech. And that's just 2 red flags in my book. Chewy, stuck right on the roadmap line, not able to pop, not able to drop. I tried to break down, popped right back up in the middle. That's not tradable to me. That's just sideways chop. Somebody could tell you otherwise. I mean, you could trade for the top. Then I would be highly cautious, and you could trade for the bottom. But I mean, it could just break out and go. So that's overlapping and gnarly, and at some point it will get out of this funk, but now is not the time for me. It's not the pattern I like. I like the high probability big moving stuff. This is not high probability big moving stuff. Yup. And that's the kind of breakout. Like, look, that's almost the Chewy chart. Almost. I mean, not exactly, but look. That's like, what the heck? What the heck? So that's almost the Chewy chart, except we're getting a breakout. So this one can get motivated and actually do something now. Run the high, run the low. Beautiful. Probably heading up to 48.74, maybe 55. And it may do that where it goes right up here. Then it retraces. And then we pop. Alrighty. EBIX sounds like another one that might be kind of crazy. Triple top action at resistance here. And retrace the roadmap line is what that looks like it's going to do. PDD, more China garbage. Down 3%. Not a huge mover. Looks like sideways consolidation. And then that one lost 50% of its value. Specialty stores, no idea what that does. It looks like might be some kind of China something based on the name, but I have no idea. Juicy. Lowest low. That's yeah, that's exactly the pattern. That's a dumpster fire of a chart, and I would not be chasing this with here. Even with your money, I would not be chasing this at all. I mean, that was a 1 for 18 split. Those are not bullish. That's bearish. Be careful. All right. That's the list for the week, or for the day. Yes, kind of expecting a little bit of a retrace. We could push higher, but kind of tilting the scales here for a deeper retrace. We may go retest the high one more time. Not sure. No, bigger picture. S&P 500 probably has a date with higher prices, but expecting kind of a churn and a retrace a little bit here. So be careful out there today, please. The account you save may be your own. I see a request for CCL. I mean, not really much to say there. That's coming up into that resistance. It does have, you know, higher to go, I guess. May retrace, you know, high right there, high right there, high right there. Be careful. It made a head and shoulders there and went way down. Kind of made a head and shoulders here and went up. So be careful. You know, see this thing right here? Sloppy, but it could take us right back to the top of that consolidation. Be careful on that one. And then Mara, it's just retracing with Bitcoin. I mean, could be the target. I mean, that could have been it, but I still expect higher prices on Mara. Then I'm just macro on this one. I'm not trying to worry about the micro permutations of the stock. So Vito is stuck with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I already went over Bitcoin. That's all that stuff is tied to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's not moving, none of that stuff is going to move. So go to the underlying. You know, the Bitcoin is the underlying for all that stuff that messes with crypto. We're stuck in the box. Can't break out. All right. Have a great day, everybody.